Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to another vlog. I guess you could say vlog. It's mostly just going to be like a chit chat type of video. So, first, I wanted to address the obvious. I dyed my hair. My sister dyed it for me. We said fuck it and we went with black because she either had this black, a red, or like a brown that was pretty similar to my natural hair color that I had before. So we went with the black. I'm really happy with it, and Beebs likes it a lot. So if you guys like the new hair, let me know down below. But it definitely stained my forehead. I don't know how I'm going to get that off, but hopefully it will come off in the shower. So let's get to the point. Today, January 6th, 2026, is exactly 1 year since I had a major cardiac event. I had a heart attack at work and I almost lost my life 3 times. My emotions around today are very, very complicated. There's a lot of grief for my past life and the way I used to live. There's a lot of regret. There's a lot of doubt in myself, thinking like, couldn't I have done something to prevent it? Like, why didn't I? But I just have to remember that an event like that is not my fault, and there's nothing I could have done to stop it or control it at this point. It would have happened eventually because my condition is genetic, and I didn't find that out till later, but it is genetic. But there's also a lot of feelings of gratitude. I feel blessed. I feel just absolutely so lucky to still be here and to be doing so good 1 year later. And I have so much gratitude for the amazing, amazing team of doctors that's helped me get to this point. I want to give a special shout out to my cardiologist. He is the smartest man I've ever met, and he really, really cares about what's going on with me and how I'm feeling, and he wants to see me get better. And I know that just because of where I am now and how much he genuinely looks into every concern I have. He's just amazing, and I wouldn't be here without him and all of my other doctors. So, obviously, there is gratitude, and I am very, very lucky, but I also feel bitter in a way because part of me is mourning the life I had before. Um, I feel bitter, like why did this have to happen to me? And I always tell Beebs, like, why did God put me in the same situation that I begged him to protect me from? If you guys don't know, my mom actually suffered with heart disease and heart failure for 6 years. She ultimately passed away. So I just think to myself, like, why would God put me in the same position? Not the exact same, but pretty similar. Um, that I literally begged and pleaded with Him to never put me in. But now I understand. I'm starting to understand, I should say, that God doesn't put us through things to be evil. Um, and He doesn't do it because He hates us and He wants to see us suffer. He does every single thing with care and with precision. And I'm in this state with my health because God knew I could handle it. So, like I said, emotions are high and they're very, very all over the place. It's confusing to navigate everything that I'm feeling today, knowing that several hours from right now, I was on my way to the hospital. And I remember waking up in the cardiovascular thoracic ICU, at the hospital I went to. And obviously, there's like a solid 2 weeks of my life that I don't remember. But I remember waking up with EKG stickers all over me. I had 2 IVs in my arm. Eventually, I had a pacemaker in my chest. And I just remember being so confused, like, what happened to put me here? And then, obviously, through my team of doctors and my family that was there supporting me, especially my dad and Nicole, because I lived with them at that time. Through them, I learned what had happened and why I was in the situation I was in. And I was told by witnesses. If you guys don't know, I worked in a deli at a local like grocery store. And when my event happened, my coworker, my amazing angel on earth coworker, administered CPR. But then there was also a random stranger walking through my store that I worked at that night, and he just happened to be there. I think that was God's timing. I'm not going to say his name because I don't have permission to do that, but he also administered CPR until medical personnel were able to get there. So I've also remained close to him. Him and his family are incredible. I've gone out to dinner with them and their family. Um, and he made an effort from the moment that I was on the ground not breathing and he was helping me to the moment that I was in the hospital. He told my manager at the time that he wanted to stay in contact with me, and he gave her a little sticky note with his name and number on it. And I remember just feeling so like shocked that a stranger would care that much. And I also, moral of that story, I learned through him what had happened because he was a direct witness to how I was that night and the condition that I was in. So, all of that being said, I just want to say that I'm so thankful for everybody that supported me and, along with my doctors, saved my life. I wouldn't have been able to do it not only without my doctors, but without my family and friends and their love and support. This man that I'm talking about, I texted him the other day to wish him and his family a happy new year, and he responded with something that really stuck with me. Like I said, I'm not going to share his name or any details, but I don't know verbatim what he said, but I'm going to kind of tell you guys what I remember off the top of my head. He said, last year, at the beginning of the year, I told my family that I wanted a year without any disasters and anything crazy. And 6 days later, I thought I killed someone because I didn't know how to do CPR properly. And he obviously elaborated a little bit more after that statement. But I basically told him, like, because of your humanity and being brave, even though you were unsure, you are one of the main reasons that I'm still here today. If it weren't for your courage and your willingness to stop and help someone like me that was obviously not doing good, I wouldn't be here. I would have lost my life that night. And I told him, like, you were able to pull yourself together even when you were unsure and do your best work to keep me alive until medical personnel and the ambulance and everybody got there, which he did just that. And he is, like I said, one of the main reasons I'm still here. So I'll say again, I'm so thankful for everybody that was there for me during that time and all the people that still are here for me and praying for me and they want success in my health journey. I want to give a special shout out, like I said, to my dad and Nicole. They were absolutely incredible, and if I hadn't been living with them, if I was still in my prior living situation, I would have died that night, because I know that God put me not only in Utah with my dad and Nicole, but at work surrounded by people when that happened, because He wanted to protect me. And I know, like I said, if I was in my previous situation in Idaho, I would have been alone. There would have been nobody around me. It would have been just me and my daughter, and I would have lost my life that night. And obviously, like, I would never want Whitley to witness a health event like that, especially with her mother. Obviously, it's out of my control, but I would have seriously hated myself if I would have survived alone in Idaho that night. I would have hated myself that she would have had to watch that. But luckily, God's timing came into play, and I was in a wonderful workplace surrounded by amazing people, and they helped keep me safe until I was able to get the proper care from amazing EMTs and nurses and doctors. I also had a wonderful, wonderful support system at my job at the time. They were all so supportive. Everyone signed a card, a get well card, when I was in the hospital, and they really, really made me feel like they didn't make me feel guilty for missing work. My manager at the time, who I still talk to this day, she came to see me in the hospital. So I was surrounded by just a lovely, lovely group of people, and I'm so, so lucky to have people like that. And it was also a lot less stress on me because I knew that I could stay in the hospital and take like medical leave or whatever, and my job would still be there when I was ready to go back. And I was off work for not only the week and a half that I was in the hospital, around a week and a half. Like I said, I have no memory, but I was also off for like maybe 3 weeks after I was discharged from the hospital. One, because I was not cleared by my doctors to go back to work. So I was off for like maybe 4.5 weeks total. And then when I finally got cleared by my doctors to go back to work, I was on lifting restriction because I had just had my pacemaker placed. At that time, I still had the bandage over it and everything, and I couldn't lift anything over 10 pounds in general. Like, not just with my left arm, but in general, I couldn't lift over 10 pounds. If you've never worked in a deli, you wouldn't know that the deli requires a lot of lifting. You are lifting big containers, heavy containers, fryer baskets. Sometimes you're lifting oil, like tubs. It just is a lot of lifting. And I almost felt guilty, or like I was in the way when I went back to work, because I couldn't lift anything and I had to ask coworkers for help doing small stuff like lifting the fryer basket out of the fryer when the chicken was done. But like I said, I was surrounded by an amazing group of people that didn't make me feel like I was in the way or taking up space. They were just happy that I was back. But all of that being said, it is the craziest thing ever that it has been exactly a year. And if I'm being honest, I didn't think I would make it this far. I suffered a lot, and it was pretty severe, and I was not expected to survive. I don't know the statistics, but it's like 80 something percent of people who go through what I went through and wake up from it are either disabled or they live as a vegetable because they can't function normally anymore. My doctors referred to me as a medical anomaly. And the same people who survive, if they survive like I did, have memory loss and permanent brain damage. They did not expect me to be able to live a normal life, and I did. I overcame that, and with that feeling, also, there is so much gratitude. Knowing that I was the one person out of so many people that suffer the same cardiac event that I did that survived, and I'm not severely disabled. I don't have horrible memory loss. I do have some, but my memory isn't like severely affected. I'm not bedbound. I'm not wheelchair bound. I can live a somewhat normal life. Obviously, I have restrictions and things that I need to look out for. But other than that, my life is mostly normal. I was referred to as a medical anomaly because, like I said 3 times now, most people that go through what I went through aren't able to live a normal life. Either that or they don't survive in general. So I just feel lucky. I am so lucky. Not only that I was in Utah when it happened with my dad and Nicole and I had a support system, but that I was at work surrounded by people who cared, who were able to help me until the ambulance got there. I'm lucky to have such an amazing team of doctors that have cared for me 100% since that day 1 year ago. It's crazy to look at where I was then with my health and where I am now. After it happened, I was really down bad, and it just makes me emotional to think like God really had a plan for me. And my body tried 3 times to give up. My body did give up 3 times, and I truly believe that God said, absolutely not, you're not done here. And He sent me back down, and here I am 1 year later. My journey with heart disease slash active heart failure has been absolutely crazy. It's been a fucking roller coaster, and I've lived one hell of a life in the last year, and I'm just so happy that I made it over that hill, and I'm conquering the battle. I'm not letting it consume me, and I'm getting better and better every day. I feel better and better every day. I'm so glad that my doctors made the decisions they made. Example number one, I'm glad that they decided to place a pacemaker, not only to save my life then, but also now and in future situations where there might be an emergency. I feel reassured to know that the pacemaker is there, even though it traumatizes the fuck out of me. I'm thankful that it's there, and I have a backup when it comes to an emergency with my heart. If there's something wrong or if my heart stops, the pacemaker is there to bring me back. And a lot of people don't have that. Um, if the typical person has a heart attack, they have no implanted defibrillator to shock them back to life, and I do. And I just feel thankful to know that, like, since the risk of another heart attack is higher with my heart because it is so weak, I feel thankful to know that it's there and that it will do what it needs to do to save my life if another event happened like that. Now, all that being said, don't get me wrong, the pacemaker is a living nightmare. It traumatizes the shit out of me every single day. I watched my mom have to get a pacemaker. I watched her get shocked by a pacemaker multiple times. And this is probably stating the obvious, but if you get shocked by a pacemaker, you will feel that shit. Now, mine, I've been told by doctors, is set to such a high BPM that by the time it were to go off, if it does go off, I would be unconscious because my heart would have to be going so fast to the point where there's no other way than being unconscious. Like I wouldn't be able to be conscious in that moment because it's set to such a high number. So that is something I'm thankful for because, like I said, it traumatizes the shit out of me. I've watched it happen to my mom, and I don't really want to remember that if it happens, which obviously we hope to God that it doesn't, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that I make improvements and it doesn't have to go off in my lifetime. But I'm just so thankful that it's there. And no matter how scary it is, I think the scariest part is knowing that I have no control over it and when it goes off. But no matter how scary it is, it's there to save my life, and that is a blessing. So, all of that being said, that is kind of how I feel about the situation exactly 1 year later. And I'm just so thankful, like I keep saying. And I just want everyone to know that no matter what you go through, it doesn't have to be heart failure, heart disease, it doesn't have to be a heart attack, it doesn't have to be cardiac arrest. It can be literally anything. No matter what you go through, have gratitude that you're still here. A lot of people don't make it. And I don't think people realize how many people don't make it until they go through it themselves. My situation with heart disease has taught me a lesson that I needed to learn for a while. It has taught me to live every day like it's my last because I never know. Obviously, I never know because that happened to me so unexpectedly, and I need to live every day to the fullest, treat every day as a blessing, and even if every day is not good, find something good in every day because there is a chance that one day you just won't be here. And I came close to that 3 times. And yeah, I just think every day is so important and you need to make the most of your life, um, regardless of your health situation, or even if you don't have health issues like I do, maybe it's mental health, or any other issue that you might be suffering with. Just be thankful that you're still here and don't take life for granted. So, again, I want to say a huge thank you to my amazing family and friends who supported me all the way through and still are to this day. But the biggest group of people that I want to thank is my amazing team of doctors, my cardiologist, everyone in the heart failure clinic. I want to thank my electrophysiologist. He's over the pacemaker, all of the wonderful assistants like CNAs and everything, MAs that help me when I go to my appointments. They're all so kind, and if it weren't for those people, I probably wouldn't have made it to see a year later. I'm so thankful, and obviously, as time moves forward, I will continue to give you guys updates, and here's to another year of fighting and conquering this battle with heart disease. And yeah, I'm so thankful for all my doctors, and this is a special shout out to everyone that works in the medical field. You don't have to be a heart doctor. You guys do amazing work and you run every day to save lives. you take time away from your family and your friends to be in that hospital caring for people that are in a situation like mine, people that are not doing well, people that are almost crossing the line between life and death, and you save them from having to cross that line. You guys are amazing, and anyone who works in the medical field, you are an angel on earth. And I mean that. So I put a t-shirt on because I realized this whole video I haven't moved from my bed, but give me a break. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, that was kind of a little video on 1 year later, how I feel now, how I'm doing now. I'm doing amazing. I'm thankful, I'm blessed, and I have a lot of faith in God and His timing. And yeah, I'm so thankful to still be here and to be doing so great. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for supporting me and watching my videos. I love making videos. I love talking to the camera. I've loved it since I can remember. I love vlogging. I love doing sit-down videos. It's kind of like a therapy session for me, and I've done a lot of it in the last year since my heart attack. And I think that's part of how I choose to cope. So I want to say thank you guys. I love you so much, and you guys are all a blessing to me, and you guys are just added support that I have in my journey with heart disease and heart failure, not only in the last year, but moving forward as well. So before I end this video, I wanted to show you, we got our nightstands and Beebs assembled them last night. They're absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy that we went with this color, but I love them. They have like a cubby to keep stuff. I just have my journal and then one of my little pouches, and 2 drawers, and then I just have the same container on top to keep all my stuff in. They are very, very nice, and it's amazing to finally have a nightstand because before you guys saw the little black end table I was using, and that just wasn't enough to keep all my shit on. So yeah, they have plugs in the back, so 2 USBs and 2 actual plugs. Love them. Beautiful. I want to get like a doily. If you're old-fashioned like me, you know what that is, to put on the surface just so the surface doesn't get damaged. But Beebs has the same thing on his side, and he just has his like computers and his little Anchor power bar thing. He didn't have anything before, so this is probably a shock to his system. So yeah, I want you guys to know that you should always be thankful no matter what you're going through. You're lucky to be here. Life is a blessing, and don't take it for granted. Just be your best self and live your best life. Try not to have any regrets because you only live once, and some people aren't granted the second chance. But yeah, let me know what you think of the new hair. I personally love it, but everyone has their own opinions. Let me know what you think. Also, if you have any suggestions for what I should do with my nails at my next nail appointment, I still have Christmas nails, don't clock me. Let me know in the comments if you want to put like a picture of like one of your nails or get like a picture off of Google or whatnot. Do that. I need some suggestions. So I can talk with my sister about what we're going to do next. I want to keep the same shape. Obviously New Year's is over, so the plan that I had to get New Year's nails is kind of gone. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna do like something pink, so when Valentine's Day comes around, I will have the appropriate nails for that. So yeah, that was pretty much my vlog. It was basically just like a 1 year later video that I promised you guys. But like I always say, I love you guys. Don't forget to always express what you're thankful for. Drink your water, take your meds, and if your posture's bad, fix it. And until next time, I will see you guys soon. Bye.